Hello YouTube, welcome back to another video, and this time we are in the other side, 15. So this week, Disc Priest is highly recommended because of the affixes we have, which is Bursting of Volcanic, and of course it's fortified this week, as Tyrannical was last week. And I've played Holy and Disc this week, and Holy can't quite cut it. The damage reduction on Disc Priest is far more superior this week, and is definitely viable. So at the beginning here, as you saw, we bloodlusted, did a big pull. I popped my pain suppression on the tank as soon as he pulled. I should have used my tufts actually, my trinket, that would have helped. And when the mobs I see come down to low, pop rapture, shield everyone up, and then obviously I've got mass dispel, which comes in handy a lot of the times. So in the second pull of the dungeon, I still have my barrier, radiance, got my mind games is back up, which is really useful. Just use my tufts on the tank, hopefully to keep him up. It's a very good instant heal after 6 seconds. Very, very useful in Mythic Plus. So just make sure you keep your atonements up on everyone. I know the tank takes a lot of damage here. Maybe you should have kited a little bit. I don't know much about tanks, but he was definitely taking a lot of heavy damage. I know he was out of cooldowns and he just popped demon spikes. And keeping everybody alive using Master Spell for the bursting. If you don't have Master Spell up and tank pulls big, Rapture can kind of help with that as well. I mean, Master Spell is on a 45-second cooldown, so it shouldn't be a problem too much. Unless there's too many big pulls, one after another, but it shouldn't be a problem. Now, the Enraged Spirit, now he does a lot of damage, so it's always best to keep your atonements out on everybody as much as possible. I think the Shaman died to the Enraged Mask, but no problem, he uses Reincarnate. Keeping everyone topped up with Shadow Mend and atonements on everyone can be a bit of a mana drain, as I know straight away I'd have to drink after this pull, and make sure you drink after the bursting comes off, as I didn't have any mage food for this fight. I say probably falls in just under 3% more, which is no problem as long as I've got above quarter of my mana, shouldn't be an issue. So same thing again, mobs are about to die. I know I'd be using my Master Spell. In this case, I'd have to either sacrifice the Druid or the melee. The Druid wasn't quite in range, unfortunately. And as I had to dispel the tank before the Master Spell, it's a bit of a bad luck really for the Druid. So a few people keep asking me what's them little boxes above my party frames. That's a little add-on called Decursive. It's been in the game for many years, and it's really helpful for like dispelling. As soon as the box glows up red or blue, that means it can be dispelled. I'm not sure why I put PI on the monk, just a bit of a brain fart I think. I think I just misclicked, to be fair. So these two Risen Warlords, they do take a fair bit of damage. I had to use pain suppression on the tank as he was taking quite a bit of damage there. I know he didn't have demon spikes up another 10 seconds or so. So he was taking some heavy damage. Try and keep atonement on the tank light all the time. And when mobs die, when you're playing disc, if you keep atonements on the whole party, so a radiance just before the mobs die, it helps massively again because of the damage reduction. 3% damage reduction for each atonement on a player. Definitely helps against bursting if you can't, if you don't have Rapture or Master Spell ready. So you can probably take about 3 to 4 burstings just having atonements on, but then having to heal and top everybody up. I'm going to skip forwards and cut out all the running scenes and just focus on the fight scenes. So these mini packs can be a bit of a pain sometimes, but luckily having 3 melee including the tank, the interrupts shouldn't be an issue. So again, just keeping Atonement on tank all the time, keeping him topped up, and then Dispel as soon as possible. Try not to get hit by the volcanic, but it happens sometimes. Getting a cast of Radiance off at the end, just before the bursting come in, is sometimes ideal, depending on how many mobs die. At the end, maybe 1 or 2. I think it was the Blade Storm that killed the monk. It can do some nasty damage if the melee are in too close. As a priest, them spirits can be dispelled pretty nicely, and there's no cooldown when you're using it as well, apart from the global cooldown. So basically what I'm doing here, I'm just doing damage to this mob, saving my heavy damaging spells for the next pack, as there's 4 of them to pull. It can get a bit messy sometimes, but you can LOS the next 4, which comes in handy when they're stacked together. Easier to mass stun, obviously, as we have a couple of mass stuns in the group, which is really good. So the prideful fights as a disc priest is always nice and easy, keeping atonements on everyone, knowing that I have lots of mana, so I could spam spells as much as I want, as I know I'll be getting unlimited mana after it's dead, and then we're straight onto the boss fight. So I'm saving spells like Barrier and PI for the boss fight that's just about to happen. But don't be afraid to use Mind Games or Schism or Mind Blast, just to top everybody up through Prideful before the boss. Because, I mean, it's 10 seconds now on Mind Games before it come back up, and I won't be using that until another 10-15 seconds anyway. So it's always good to use your cooldowns. There's no point of really saving him as a Disc Priest. I mean, Barrier, Pain Suppression, both share a 3-minute cooldown, and your Rapture's like 1.2, it's like 1 minute 20 seconds, something like that. And you could just use them as and when normally. I only just noticed actually I didn't have the Shining Force talented, which is tend to be very helpful for this bit, but it's not tyrannical, so it's not really a big deal, and you can just heal through it. I skipped the running phase, and now we're in the corridor where Millhouse is at the end. As you should know by now, you should always LOS the drill. Although I have seen some Demon Hunters go into meta form and just tank it. Not really much healing going on here, just avoiding the Volcanic. Just keeping the tank topped up. Sometimes DPS will get clipped by one of the blasts. No big problem. One bursting is manageable, so it's 2. This can be a bit hectic sometimes. It's always good to keep atonements on everyone. Well, depending on the damage, the incoming damage. I did put Pain Suppression on the tank, as I knew he was taking a bit of damage, which I think he also used his Demon Spikes. Keeping atonements on everyone. Shaman tends to take a bit of damage now and again. I would recommend, if you don't have a Disc Priest in your group, killing things one by one. Be like a 4-second window is probably more ideal, so the bursting don't stack, but would have been nice if things died more at the same time, to be fair, as a priest. Much easier to maintain. Again, just keeping the tank up, keeping atonement on, spamming smite, using penance on the tank when it gets too low. Casting Radiance just before the mob dies, so take less damage from bursting. It's not a big deal when it's just one. Just helps when you then start to kill the next pack. And then just heal everyone back up. So I know Lubricate does quite a fair bit of damage. That's why I use Rapture. And because of my legendary, I've got 20 second of atonements for when I use Rapture. And it costs less mana, which is a very good legendary. I know a lot of people take the PI legendary, which is good. I've not got it myself, but I've seen it's quite useful in scenarios. But I feel like I don't use PI enough. Well, I didn't use that many times in this dungeon, mainly on bosses. Sometimes it's just knowing when to use it at the right time, depending on what pack the tank's going to pull. Sometimes it's just ideal to have a look at the tank's route, if he's got a route set up, so you can see what mobs he's going to pull before the dungeon starts. If you run out of radiance and you can't cast it, just put powered shield on everyone to get atonement on everyone, and then DPS the mobs. Mindseer comes in handy as well. If there's not much healing to be done, just try and get as much DPS out as possible. So I was about like 0.2 seconds, bit too quick with the master spell there, but that's not really a big problem. So I got 2 of the burstings out of that master spell. Don't really tend to master spell when there's like 3, you can just heal through it depending on the mobs or the next pack. But as I knew Prideful was going to drop, it's might as well use the master spell since it was off cooldown anyway. Got enough mana, because master spell does actually cost quite a bit of mana. So onto the Millhouse Manastorm boss. Now this boss can be a bit tricky sometimes. I mean, it's quite a bit of movement. You're deactivating the bombs, you're shielding the beams to get to hit Millhouse, and of course you want to aim both the red arrows with the boss in the middle so he gets hit by the earthquake spikes. However, in this scenario I also died from the volcanic and the spikes. I didn't move out of the way in time, but that's a good job we have druids to combat res. I was hoping we didn't kill him too quick, because when it comes to the end and there's a lot of debris falling from the sky, it takes a lot of damage, and it can be a bit tricky for the healer to top everyone up, since it's a lot of damage taken in. So basically in this fight, I don't know why I didn't click on that bomb, I just noticed now. I didn't even notice that last time. It's not really a big problem. I mean, I've got my radiance ready. Did wonder why we took a lot of damage actually. That's my fault that. That's actually a rookie mistake. As all healers and ranged DPS should always click on the bomb. So I didn't quite kill my house below 10%, which was good, because otherwise everybody would take an extra damage right then. So that was a nice clean kill. Just skip forwards a bit. Again, the enraged spirit. I've got my cooldowns all ready in case I need to use them. Putting atonements on everybody with radiance. And when he does his rage, just need to keep everyone topped up. Rapture is definitely useful in this scenario. But if you've got like a lot of mana, you can just top everyone up with Shadow Mend. So this next pull, activating the Yearn, silencing the mobs so they'd all run over. I did pop pain suppression probably a bit too early on the tank. And popping Rapture as well on this pack definitely helps, so I'm glad I saved it, to be honest. So I'll be using my master spell at the end of these, depending on if they all die at the same time. If not, my Radiance will definitely help. Now on to the third boss. These trash mobs can be a bit tricky sometimes for healers, especially during bursting week. But it's never a problem really for a disc priest, as long as you've got your rapture ready, master spell ready, your barrier. I mean, you can actually do really big pulls and survive this as long as the melee don't die in the swells or volcanic. As a healer this week, there's a lot of movement on this. You're having to dodge the swells, the volcanic, anything else that comes in your way, which then you're having to cast at the correct times. You wouldn't just be able to stand still and just keep casting. It's a good thing as a disc priest, you can, most of the abilities you can just run and shield, put atonements and DPS. There's about a few casts you have to stand still, but it's not normally an issue for a disc priest. Keeping everyone topped with atonement, doing damage, making sure to mass dispel. My rapture just came off cooldown. You don't need to use rapture. I did because the timing is actually timed quite well, as I know Prideful was about to come in, and with atonements being up for 20 seconds, the bursting then comes off them ads, damage reduction takes into place, and I now had 2 full casts of Radiance up for the Prideful, which is perfect because of the ticking damage the Prideful does to everyone. And the Rapture, I'll probably be able to use Rapture again once more before the boss, which would definitely come in handy for the big bird just further down the track. It's always good to get a few holy fires out and then pop atonements on, because it's like a ticking dot pretty much. It does damage and it heals people. It's not a big heal, but the more damage you do, the more heals obviously it goes out with those that have atonement on. This was actually quite a nice pull, and I probably should have PO'd the druid a bit sooner. There's just so much to focus as a healer. You're moving out of the way, you're looking at your cooldowns, you're looking at people's health, you're looking to see what they've got on. There's just so much going on. You just have to think ahead all the time as a disc priest. And when you see other healers, like you see other healers that have been maining shamans or druids, and then they start to play a disc priest and they start to struggle, it's definitely a big learning curve and takes a lot of practice. You can't just be good overnight. So when I saw the tank jump down here, I thought, oh great, he's probably going to die. Because I know how much damage this bird does. But luckily my pain suppression was up, and I was able to put that on him. Then able to spam heal him. Rapture was coming off in the next 10 seconds. Which that bird needed to die much quicker. And in this scenario I could just spam Shadow Mend, however I know I'd doom quickly. So I managed to spam a few Raptures on him as he was taking damage. And then Rapture everyone else up as the bursting comes in. Master Spell. My absorbs eat the bursting and Master Spelled. Got enough atonements on for the next pack. Perfect play for a disc priest. Absolutely perfect. Keeping everyone topped up. Now there was so much movement, but I needed to heal. This was getting a bit scary as I kept on getting hit by nearly everything. Couldn't quite see what was underneath my feet. I don't know how many times I tried to cast mind games and couldn't quite get the cast out in time. I'm not sure if an AoE stun was used, but that would have been really nice right about now. But I managed to keep everyone alive. With a little bit of mana left, just needed to eat a bit, drink a bit more, as Prideful was about to drop at 100%. So this is the last pack before the third boss and then the final boss. My PI is going to come off in 30 seconds time. Keeping atonements on everybody from that bursting, damaging the Prideful. Luckily I had enough mana to top everyone up with the Shadow Mend. Puts atonement on everyone. And then I've always got my Arcane Torrent, my Blood Elf Racial, giving me 3% of my mana back. Which comes in handy quite a lot of times actually. You may see me using it throughout the dungeons. So this fight's pretty easy really once you know the mechanics and know when to take the jump pads and obviously dodging the beams. Always good to take the jump pad, maybe about 2 seconds left on the bomb. And it should explode right at the... So in this scenario, I saw the Demon Hunter take the jump pad that I was going to take. I saw that as he meta form, so he could have just tanked that. He didn't need to take the jump pad. But instead I took a lot of damage. But no problem. Managed to top myself back up and get straight back in the fight. I've never seen the bomb on me so many times in one fight, to be honest. Also, for everyone that plays a priest, the conduit for Fade is a massive help, especially when taking extra reduction damage. It's also a huge bonus for when you see incoming damage coming in. Always pop Fade, and it's like a 30-second cooldown as well, so it's like there's no reason why you should not use that in everything, raids, dungeons. So now on to the final boss, Mueh'zala. Nice easy fight again. As healer, I always prefer to stand right in the middle. You've got the ranged at the back and then the melee in front, leaving the little orbs scattered everywhere, which would be better if they're like stacked in the middle. But it's no problem really. So keeping everyone topped up, keeping the tank topped up, making sure atonement's always on him, because when the boss melees he actually does quite heavy damage. Tank should really save his demon spikes for when the boss is meleeing him. Definitely helps. And as always, best not to avoid the orbs that are on the floor, so I did a bad job of that. Don't know why I just stood there, but I could do more healing, I suppose, why not? So normally the healer and the tank takes front left or front right, and then someone to the left stairs and right stairs and front right or left, whatever. But it's always good to maybe save a couple of cooldowns for the visage. Trying to avoid all the orbs on the floor. I always like to keep an atonement on the tank just in case he gets hit by the orb on the floor. It's fine, he doesn't really have to move much. He can just carry on DPSing. It's always best to stand at the back so you can quickly click that totem as soon as it dies. So everyone killed theirs on time and everyone clicked the totem, which is perfect. Didn't have bloodlust at this stage, but it was fine. We're all doing a lot of damage. And it was one of the most cleanest fights probably in the instance. It's not too bad. A few hiccups here and there. Still timed at 15. Could have 2-chested it. Minus the few mistakes everyone made, including myself. I suppose that's what makes the game interesting. Making these mistakes with different affixes each week. Just getting used to them again. But yep, play and fight. And I hope everyone enjoyed themselves watching this video. Feel free to like, subscribe and leave a comment below.